Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Today is November 19th, 2019. This is episode number 33, and today we're going to explore trait 14. And what we're going to take a look at is talent and wealth used for the highest good. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. Now, before we jump in and get started, let's say hello to our panel. And I know Lavina and Chris, you have 14 a couple times activated in your design. So this is going to be really fun to go through this. And I have 14. I have 14 envy because I don't have 14.
14 envy. I like that.
But it's what bridges my split. So I know a lot of 14s, and I attract a lot of 14s for that very reason. So it's one of my favorite traits, even though I don't have it. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's say hello to our panel. So let's start with Natalie. Hey, Natalie, welcome.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, it will be a quiet one for me again.
Great to have you here. Welcome. And Chris, hello.
Hi everyone. Welcome. So glad you're here. Yeah.
Beautiful. And Lavina.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here with you.
Great. Excellent. Well, thank you to each and every one of you that are here live in our Zoom room. So we have several of you live in our Zoom room. So for those of you in our Zoom room, if there's anything that you would like to share or add, you're welcome to share or add that. And also for those of you in Facebook Live, if there's any questions, if there's any comments, Lavina's going to be monitoring our Facebook Live. So you can go ahead and type in any questions or comments there, and Lavina will add it to our discussion. So great. Well, let's jump in and get started. And as we just started adding this piece of really, in a sense, getting back to the basics. So let's start with getting back to the basics. And what the 14 is about our energy. Right? It is this energy resource that provides this generative go energy. And one of the key aspects that we take a look at in BG5 is taking a look at how do you use your energy properly. It really is the key to living properly, is using your energy properly. If you're not using your energy properly, you can easily get burned out, easily get fried, and then you can't really fulfill on your purpose. You really cannot be of service to others. And that's part of what we're going to be talking about today. So one of the things to realize, even if you are a builder, we all have a limited supply of energy, right? We can go to a certain point, but all of us need to rest and sleep at night as well. So if you are a builder, you do have this consistent, reliable go energy, right? This is part of what we're going to talk about with the 14. However, if you do not use your energy properly, if you are not doing what you love, if you're not loving what you do, it can have huge degenerative effects. I've worked with several clients recently that are builders that have used their energy improperly, and they've had all kinds of physical symptoms, physical issues that's been very degenerative on their bodies. And so if you are not using your energy properly as a builder, it can have devastating effects, right? So when we're using it properly, we can use that go energy doing what we love and loving what we do. Now, if you are not a builder, and if you're not sure if you're a builder or any other type, you can always go to our website at bg5businessinstitute.com and get a free report, and you can find out what your career type is. So if you're not a builder, and there's either the classic builder or express builder, then you rely on the builders for this constant, reliable energy. In a sense, you can't generate this go energy yourself. Therefore, it is vitally important that you surround yourself with energetically healthy people and become very selective of who you spend time with. It's also really important to rest when you need to rest so you don't burn yourself out. if you're not a builder, oftentimes you're around so many builders, right, that you, in a sense, feel like you're a builder yourself. But oftentimes you can't keep up with the builders. And again, that can lead to burnout. So I would love to hear from our panel too, as far as using your energy properly when it comes to the energy resource, both as a builder, right? So we have Chris and Natalie here that are both classic builders, and Lavina, who is an advisor, and kind of the difference between the two. Would you like to start? Oh, go ahead, Natalie.
No, I can sure speak to if you do not use your energy correctly. So I've tried it many times, but it is degenerative, and really for me it was actually bringing burnout, severe burnout. I did. Yeah, I did something. My task was something that I didn't really love. I love to focus, and I couldn't in the jobs that I was at, and it was terrible, degenerative, and yeah, not fun.
Yeah. And on the BG5 website, Natalie actually
Yeah.
has her own case study of how she experienced this degenerative effect and not utilizing her energy. So you can start to see how really important it is to utilize your energy properly and what happens when you don't. So it's a really
Yeah,
great
and
case study to go through.
yeah, and it's such a different. I can really be full of life and full of energy, as you know. But then if I'm at such a period, if it's really bad, there's nothing. It's like empty. And that's so strange, because having this powerful energy resource, but it's not there. Yeah, no matter what, huh? You really need to use it correctly.
Yeah. You know, and that goes back to, we have a limited supply of energy, so we have to use the energy that we have in a way that's most effective, efficient, and productive for us, that brings us joy, that brings us satisfaction, that brings us peace and surprise and delight and success. Yeah, how about for you, Lavina, as since you're not a builder, you're an advisor?
Mm-hmm. So without having any consistent access to the generation of energy, this energy resource, but having that particular trait activated twice in my design, one of the shadow states that can show up is super slave, and just doing all of this stuff. And it's like trying to throw spaghetti at the wall, and you're throwing tons of it to see what sticks, but you're not sure which direction to throw it in because you don't have the other side. So there's all of this, trying to do so much and trying to do all it by yourself, and then burnout. You just tank and you hit the wall, and it's so unhealthy for advisors to hit the wall. So in this, the wisdom potential is learning how to delegate and how to work with others who do know what are the specific tasks that actually need to get done in alignment with our vision, our gathering of our particular group of individuals that are working together toward a common higher goal. Yeah. So it's learning about how to work with others and how to guide and direct the people who do have the energy consistently.
Right. Exactly.
Empowering their vision.
Yeah, beautifully stated, Lavina. And Chris, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, so I have a couple things. One is I have someone who's very close to me in my family who's an express builder who has really been misusing their generative energy, and they are, in a lot of ways in the middle of this burnout. And it is so hard to watch because it's like, there's such once you're in it, it can be really hard to disengage from it. And so just, my heart really goes out to this person, because it's really hard. It's hard to watch. And then also for myself, just noticing, similar to what Natalie was saying, is like, I have this go, let's go. But I can start to see when I get, like, it's not just at any, like I could just tap into it without feeding it. And I think that that's a really important piece to understand. And I actually shared with you all that I started a group for builders sacral mastermind, which is all about mastering the mind and trusting the gut, because it's about how to use this energy correctly. And I found this quote, it's actually in the definitive book. It says, a revolution of generators living completely through response could change the frequency on a planet from frustration to satisfaction. That is how important it is that we builders use this energy correctly, because folks like, Lavina, the advisors, the evaluators, the innovators are amplifying this energy. This is not like, oh, just use your energy correctly. This is like, get your together, people. Like, get it together. And it says, this is why the generator's mystical path and contribution to humanity is to wake up their sacral and live surrendered to its subjective truth. And that, I just think, is so beautiful. It's like, to me, this is like the battle cry, if you will, of how to use our energy correctly as builders, because we do change the frequency of the planet, and we give something very beautiful and precious to the advisors, innovators, and evaluators to amplify, and we can change the frequency of the planet like that if we really get this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautifully, beautifully said.
Yeah.
And as we're talking about talent and wealth utilized for the highest good, this is, in a sense, the deepest, purest form, is this generative energy. And, it's not only, this wealth of energy, but this is, again, what Chris just said. This is what we're giving to the planet. And are we doing it in a healthy way or unhealthy way? Is it being broadcast in a healthy or unhealthy way? And as we see, if we take a look at trait 14, this is about power skills. For me, this trait 14, and it may be just because I have trait 14 envy, but it is, like the, what's the word I want to use? It's like the trait that really defines what the energy resource is all about for me. And I put this picture here, and then when I put the smaller image here, it's sort of like the 14 sort of looks like the cape here. I don't know what that means, but it just kind of looked like that for me. And so when we take a look at the power skills, what is it all about? This is possession in great measure. Right? This is the treasure trove. This is the, treasure of riches, but also ultimately it's the treasure of energy. Right? That's ultimately what it's about. So it's the accumulation and retention of power through skilled interaction, coupling grace with control. And it's the purest, fertile power of the energy resource. Like I said, it feels like it's the most, purest of what the energy resource is all about, what that sacral energy, that energy resource is all about. It's the potential to empower the direction of others and businesses through the distribution of available resources, right? So we can take a look at the 14 of being resources. And one of the things that's really magical about 14, especially as you start studying BG5, is, that this is capacity. This is the resources, both for large groups and small groups. And so in carrying this particular trait, it really empowers. It's almost really not for yourself. It really is to empower others for the greatest good. It's really what it's all about. And it's those resources, as I said, are not necessarily for your own use, but rather yours to manage in order to empower others to support creativity, charitable activities, or, leaders with a vision for the future. Right? So this rich and powerful energy is not here to be used, in a sense, in a selfish way to gain resources and money and hold on to it. It's really about being able to gather these resources, the money, the energy, to be able to empower others with it, to be of service in the highest good. So anything that you guys would like to add?
Yeah, yes, all of that. It's interesting. There's a couple things. One is that, so this is my, in my driving force, and I can't remember where else it is. There's somewhere else in the design. And when I sit with, yeah, there we go. Thank you. When I sit with my clients, I'm, and they tell me, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm all about. It's like, I can look at it and say, okay, here's how you'll make money. Here's where to do it. Here's how to do it. Here's how to communicate it. All of these things. It's like, I see it. I'm constantly looking around and going, here's the resources. Here's how to use the resources. Those resources are not being used correctly. They're not, it's like, it's constant. And what I notice is that, number one, I can't do it for myself very well. And number two, if I try to do, and not that I tried to do this necessarily in the past, but if I ever get into a place where I'm like, I need to make money, how can I just make some money? It doesn't work. But if I turn it around and I'm like, how can I make everybody else money? Oh my Lord, have mercy. That, like, it just opens up. It, like, everything opens up and the resources flow. It's such a paradoxical, it's like the accountant who is just able to see how those resources can be best allocated. But if they try to keep any of it for themselves, it won't work. They have to keep it flowing. And I'm really curious to hear, because this is one of your profit potential places, Lavina. I'm curious to hear how that also works for you, and in your design.
That was really interesting. Thank you for sharing. And I love that the example of what was hidden was something that you were like, I can't remember where, because it's hidden.
What is that?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So very, very interesting that those two were, reinforcing each other. You're getting down to the details of what's going to bring the resources out into the world. Yeah. So with me, it's different. Yours is more of an internal process that you're contributing as part of your value of what you bring to the other person. For me, it's in an undefined center. So that means it's only going to get activated or function. That function really works well in partnership with that two on the other side. And I'm learning from all of the other different ways that energy resource could get activated. But for me, you can see that they're both in particular positions. So in activation with other people, I have an ability to contribute something that is going to bring them the ability to understand through their maturing energy, spirituality. That's the maturing energy. And that's what that quality is right there, spirituality. How can they have an ability to have innate dignity, the innate dignity, that's the 5 quality up there, of being able to be empowered in their direction for their life, their highest vision for their life. So it's about getting it out there into the world. Yeah. And so I have a unique perspective. If somebody really wants to hear what I have to say, they pay me money. That's the law, an 8 in a 2, service, for example, for a price. You can see it's down in the challenge. If they really want to have some idea of what I see in their design, it will land with them like nothing else. And they'll be just like, oh, wow, where was it all this time? Those resources, where it's right there inside of you. I can see it, it's like you're saying. So to be able to contribute an empowered direction, sometimes they have the vision, but they just don't know what's going to get them there. And so just that alertness to where is it, and to be able to align them, put them on their higher track. So that's part of how it shows up for me.
Wow.
Yeah. It's accumulation of energy resources, right? It's this drawing inward. It's the only strength that we have in the body graph that does dual duty. We could say triple, individual, and then the pentic, the small group, and then the large group. It's the only strength that does that. And it just sucks in the resources, because that is what that energy is doing. As our frequency of our builders are, they're generating energy and resources in response. So it's always this pull. So the people who have this in an undefined functions are here to guide that energy as it moves forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's almost, we take a look at this actually in OC16 when we're taking a look at larger organizations. This is sort of like the treasure trove, but it's almost like the treasure cannot be released unless there is a proper direction. If there's no direction, people also with the 14 can also be the, the most penny pinching, the most stingy, like holding in all of the resources until it can be used to the higher good. And there's a proper direction for it to be used in the higher good and for the higher good. Yeah. Fascinating trait. Really powerful as well. And it's very interesting. What we're taking a look at is the third quality. And remember, the third quality is the most material. This is the pioneer. This is also, learning through trial and error. And so it's really interesting when we take a look at this quality 3. This is the utilization of talent and wealth, again, for the highest good. And so if we take a look at the elevation of this, the key to power lies in selfless contribution to others. And it's the selfless contribution to society. But on the other side, remember, there's always two sides of the coin. On the other side, this is powerful, the power of selfishness to fuel greed. This is greed and self-destruction of the moral fiber, right? So it's kind of being able to support and use that finance and wealth for the highest good, or the opposite, right? The greed and with it, the self-destruction of the moral fiber as well. So it's kind of interesting to see, those two dynamics.
Kind of going back to something that Lavina was just saying, I'd also like to throw in a little bit of a challenge that having the 14 also happens. So I think one of you just said it can be the one who's become stingy, or maybe you said it, Karen, like you could be stingy. What I've also noticed is the flip side is that because I don't have the 2, I don't know where to spend the money. And so I'll just be, again, throwing spaghetti at the wall. Let me throw some money at that and throw money at that and throw money at that. And so become a spendthrift. Like, let me just throw money out there without the clear vision. And that's where and why, coming back to the strength of the 14-2, I suspect that because it is in individuals, in the Penta and in the OC16, why it is so important to have the 2 together. Because otherwise, with a vision and no resources, nothing happens. With resources and no vision, stuff may happen, but it's really messy and not focused. And so just to throw that out there, if anybody's like, well, I'm not stingy at all with my money. I'm like, oh yeah, me neither. I'm like, should stop throwing money out there. So it's fascinating to see how that works. I just want to throw that in there.
Really good point, Chris, because it's always a this and a that. Right. And I have the same issue. With the power skills in your design, I inconsistently generate a lot of resources, but as far as where to allocate them so that I'm going in a consistent direction, wasting money down the drain. But that boat, your wealth fills up again. And it's just, are you managing this resource consistently? Exactly. Not necessarily in the same direction if you've got only it by itself.
Exactly. And it's interesting you just brought that up, because all my life, I have never had a time when I couldn't pay my bills or I didn't have the money that I needed. I mean, it is like amazing how that works.
It's a wealth trait. Absolutely.
It's a wealth trait. It's like, oh, I need that. Okay. And then suddenly it'll show up and I'm like, dang, that was cool. Mm-hmm. But again, without vision, it can just as easily go. And so it really is it's really looking at all of it together and everything that's going on. So,
yeah. It's very interesting because I have the 2, but I don't have the 14. Right. And not only do I have the 2 and not have the 14, but the 14, is my biggest shadow, right? It's the biggest conditioning force. Mm-hmm. It is, I can also be wise there as well, but it's what I'm always attracting as well. And one of the things, because I have a collaborative assimilation, and this is what bridges that split, one of the things that I found is where magic happens for me is, as the 2 connecting with the 14. You know, I've seen that with Lavina. I've seen that with Chris. You know, I have the vision, but I don't always have the resources to be able to fulfill on that vision. Linda Burnell, she has the 14, right? So it's one of the things that I found is in trying to build a business by myself, it worked to a certain extent, but it just kind of stalled, right? There's only a certain level that I could get to because I really am designed to work in collaboration. And there is truly a magic with that 2 and that 14.
Yes.
You know, having that vision and then having the power skills to back it. When you put the 2 together, that can be a really unstoppable force. And as Chris and Lavina both mentioned, you know, this is the one strength in the entire body graph that is individual, that is for a small group, and for a large group. So no matter what dynamic you're working with, especially when working in business, these 2 traits are vitally, vitally important for any business. You know, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you work in a small group, whether you work in a large group, vitally, vitally, vitally important to the success. And so, you know, that marriage or that connection that the 2 and the 14 has can be very magical. But the 2 by itself, in a sense, we talk about this in OC16, is almost not enough by itself. It has to have a plan, right? It has to have a solid vision. It has to have something really solid so that, in a sense, it can sell the 14, if you will, on the idea, on the vision. So, and once that 14 buys in, can then be able to share those resources. So again, you know, we take a look at this as a very individual trait, right? It's in the individual circuitry, yet it is about service. And this is how you profit through trait 14 is being of service to others and utilizing at a personal level, it's utilizing your talent and wealth for the highest good. Your energy resource, you're using your energy resource for the highest good, right? To contribute to others. And that's where you profit.
That is so, it's just remarkable to see that, because I struggled before I learned about my design and BG5. I really struggled with this. I mean, I would always just, like you said, inconsistently, I'd consistently be able to earn money, but inconsistent how that came in. I just always had enough or something. And it's really, understanding this has been huge. It's been a total game changer in my business. I'm really curious, what is how has the shadow shown up for you? Because there might be some people out there that are, you know, wondering too. I have the 2, but I don't have the 14. How has the shadow shown up for you, Karen? Like, what does that look like? Give us an example. You know, out yourself here, honey.
Yes. And I'm sure each of you have seen this because one of the problems is that I think I have the resources. So I end up doing everything myself. It's really difficult.
Amplified.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's really difficult for me to delegate. I almost feel guilty in delegating, almost like I should be able to handle this all myself. I should be able to do all of this myself, you know, so not handing it over, not delegating it to others. That is still a huge shadow of mine. You know,
we're trying to whip you into shape here.
I know. But I still have a tendency to take it on. So, I mean, this is my biggest shadow. This is my biggest conditioning force. This is the biggest thing that I struggle every day. And it's very interesting sometimes with the bridging traits. You know, they're kind of like, you see it, but you don't really see it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not quite as obvious as the undefined functions when we take a look at the shadows. It's a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more detailed, and it's a little bit harder for me to see.
Yeah.
I can see it in retrospect when I go, oh, well, there I went again, right? In doing everything myself. And you know, it's something that I'm still learning to deal with.
Oh, So good. Thank you for sharing that, because now, again, I'm sure that there are people out there like, oh my Lord, that makes so much sense. But also it helps us to recognize, as your team members, to go, hey, wait a minute, you don't need to take that on. Like hold on. And again, this is why it's so important for teams to understand each other's designs. For partners to understand, where is your partnership going to, where's the breakdown? Where's the conditioning in the shadow operating versus where are you really in the strength, in the juice, in the power of the design versus anything other than that? And this is just a great example. So hopefully everybody really got that. So thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
And it's also interesting, this is something we take a look at in the second semester of BG5 certification, is we take a look at partnership. And, and if one person has one trait and the other has the other trait, like the 14 and the 2, it's an electromagnetic. So there's sort of a spark here, but there's also a this and that, right? It's the resources and it's the direction. And, it can also, what can happen is it can also, if you're in partnership, that can be also where you love the partner. There can, there's this connection, but it can also turn to hate too when you're trying to do what your partner's job really is, right? So when I'm trying to do everything myself, I'm not allowing others, to be able to utilize their talent and wealth, for the highest good.
Right. It's a great point. It's great insight.
Yeah, this is one of the super keys of the body graph. If people understood at least just this one piece of their dynamic with the other, it would make a world of difference. In my design, if you could go to my slide real quick, before, when I wasn't making any money at Human Design, I wasn't an analyst, I wasn't a teacher, wasn't anything. I was just living my life going, I need some help here. Going, why is my life so consistent? I went to a BG5 certified consultant and she looked at my design and said, oh my gosh, there is a lot of wealth here. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she said, it needs to be activated in groups of people. You have so much that contributes. You can have a business on your own because of all the activations. She, analyzed it. But when you're in a group, you're a powerhouse. And only until we had the dynamic, we've had the dynamic of working in the Pentic format where all of us together make a consistent energy that has a direction, that has a vision, that has the contribution, have I been able to have a sustained income where it's life fulfilling and it feels like it's on path and purpose and it brings joy and it empowers other people. I have people in my employ. It's the most fabulous thing to be able to see in your own design and actually experiment with following your decision-making strategy and watch it work. It's magic. It is the most fabulous thing in the world. So to be able to see, witness, watch over the years, the transformation from 6 years ago, it's like night and day. And it's not that everybody's going to be fabulously wealthy when they start living their design, but they're going to get exactly what they need to do their life's work, which is the most magical thing in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I so
beautiful.
get that. I really do. I really do. It's interesting because, again, I go back to this sacral mastermind that came as a vision. And when I was, working with clients one-on-one and helping them to make more money and helping them to see how to market themselves and get out in the world, it was like, this is great. It feels good and all that. But to take 25 years of being a therapist and energy psychology, practitioner and in human design, which is really all about energy, and like taking 25 years of all of that and being able to empower people so that they can really, like, it goes out, it's a mission, and a movement of transforming energy globally, not just for each individual, but like you change your own energy and it will change in your business and your families and ripple outward. Like, as soon as that happened, I mean, it was just another beautiful, like, little, I call it just a click on the dial. Oftentimes people are just a couple clicks on the dial away from opening up to their full potential. It's not like this radical overhaul that we have to do often. It's really just, oh, look, just open it up here a little bit. And this is where that, I call it an energy valve, like this energy valve. Let's open it up so you can receive more and give more in a way that's in alignment with you. And that it's already, I can see the changes in my business. I feel a deeper sense of satisfaction that I have never experienced before. It's like I'm really using the energy that I'm here to do in a complete, like it's life theme, it's everything. It's like all of it all at once. It just feels amazing. Yeah. And it's just a very different way of running a business, so.
I have a contribution from Irene Blinston, who is one of our foundation students. She says, doesn't this also point to the need for each person to do what they love? Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right? If we are trying to do everything ourselves and not particularly loving it, then we are robbing the other person to do what they love. And the purpose we bring them on as partners or in a team.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that.
So true.
And that really plays into, what we're taking a look at in really using our energy and our talent and our wealth for the highest good. If we are not using our energy properly, right, we cannot, in a sense, be able to give that energy away to empower others, to support others, to share with others. And so when we are doing what we love, when we love what we do, when we're using our energy properly, ultimately what we're all here to do is to be of service to the other. We talked about the mind before. The mind is not to make decisions for ourselves. The mind is here to be of service to others, right? Our energy, what we're here, to do on the planet is, yes, learn about ourselves, but really to be of service and to empower and support and share with others. Yeah. Beautiful. Any comments from our BG5 live group? Is there anyone who would like to share?
There is nothing there, and I don't see any hands, so I don't know.
All right.
While we're waiting there are some more comments here. We have from, let's see if I can move this out of the way. Jamie is saying, woohoo, I'm a 14-3, which is today, the energy that we have. She says, I am trait 14, but I am an advisor. So keeping my energy consistent is a definite challenge. I just spent yesterday off grid to recalibrate.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Definitely a need to manage your energy wisely.
Yeah. And if you're not a builder, being able to take that time to rest, being able to take that time to decompress and to get away from the energy of others, to recalibrate is really important, to be able to utilize the energy that you do have in the proper way. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, we do have a couple famous people here who actually today is their birthday. And so they do have trait 14-3 as their core essence, as their life work. So here we have Ted Turner. And he's a media mogul. Remember, when we take a look at part of what this public role is, when we take a look at the 3 and the 5, it's the pioneer, right? And it's the messenger. So the pioneer is bringing in something new and also bringing a message. So if we take a look at Ted Turner's life work theme, it's about contagion. This is also your life work theme too, as well, Lavina. It's in a slightly different area. His is in transformation. So you are committed to making a potential contribution to society through your accumulation and retention of power, money, resources, and using them wisely to empower or fuel humanity's growth, development, and evolution. And so Ted Turner is a businessman. He's known as the founder of the cable news network, so the CNN, which was the first, again, pioneer, right? And Messenger. The first 24-hour cable news channel. In addition, he founded WTBS, which pioneered, there's the word pioneer, pioneered the superstation concept in cable television, which later became TBS. As a philanthropist, he is known for his billion-dollar gift to support the United Nations, which created the United Nations Foundation, a public charity to broaden domestic support for the UN. And Turner serves as a chairman of the United Nations Foundation and board of directors. All right. And so, again, just kind of illustrating this point. You remember, there's always these two sides of it. So it's somebody who could bring humanity's growth, development, and evolution, right? Remember the other side of it. And, I don't know him, so I can't say, but we also have to take a look at, remember what we took a look at as the other side as well, where it can also end up, being the greed and the self-destruction of moral fiber as well. So again, just kind of, there's always this double-edged sword. And it's also interesting that Jack Dorsey, who's the co-founder of Twitter, again, pioneer, messenger. What is Twitter all about? It has the same life work theme. It's also his birthday. So he's an American computer programmer and internet entrepreneur who's the co-founder and CEO of Twitter and the founder and CEO of Square, a mobile payment company. So I just always find it really fascinating taking a look at people that you may know, famous individuals who have birthdays on this date, and that this is their life work, this is their life purpose, and seeing how it maps on, to their design as well. Is there anything that you would like to add, Lavina?
Not specifically to their examples, just the recognition that these are fabulous examples to take a look at. Thank you for finding them. One of the things, if you look at their designs, you can see that that's the conscious core essence, grounding, and balance. And if you look back at my design, that same configuration is on the other side. So what that means is it's my design birthday in a couple of days. So what we recognize can happen between your design birthday and your actual birth date, it's going to be 3 months before the day that you're born, is that there's a lot of pressure in that time. So just to recognize if there's any recurring themes in your life, like right before your birthday, you always are struggling with something, just to take a little bit of a step back and not to try and push too hard, because this is usually a sensitive time for people where there's a lot of stuff up in the air, confusion, doubt, chaos, and to just take it a little bit easier and give yourself more grace during these times.
Yeah. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So I see that there's a couple comments. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get to the end. I'm just looking at the time, and then we'll use those comments in wrapping everything up. So again, we've covered a lot of ground today. Oh my goodness. We've covered a lot of ground. So if you're fairly new to BG5 and human design, and you want to find out what your career design is and want to start to get a sense of what we're talking about, we talked about some really profound and more advanced things. We've talked about some of the basics as well, but you can get your free report to find out what your unique career design is by going to our website at bg5businessinstitute.com. Also, if you want to find the past recordings of our BG5 Live, probably the easiest way to do it is to go to YouTube, and you can just type in BG5 Live, and you'll be able to find all of our past episodes. You can also find the episodes here or sign up for the BG5 Live on our calendar. And in January, we're going to be starting a new semester. So just to give you a heads up, we'll be talking more about it as we go along, but we do have a new semester coming up, and we also have our profit potential workshops underway as well. All right, so let's wrap everything up with last words, last comments. So let's start with any comments from Facebook or from our BG5 Live.
So
go ahead.
The Facebook is asking about what is this particular, what are we looking at here? How long is this lasting? And it's just to let everybody know that we're looking at the daily view, the perspective. She's asking about the neutrino movement. What is this? This is about the core essence, our sun. So that's 70% of the neutrino stream that's flowing through us. And then she's also asking about books. Are there any BG5 books we can buy just yet?
There aren't any BG5 books. The book that I would recommend is Human Design, so it doesn't have the BG5 terminology, but it is the definitive book of human design. You can see it's right. So you can see that we all have it very handy. You can see all of these bookmarks and everything. So it's a really, really great reference guide. And it really has all of the information in it. Now, it doesn't have the BG5 terminology. It has the human design terminology, but the essence and what's in there is also what BG5 is all about. We just have some slightly different terminology.
I love that. That is so great.
Hilarious.
It was National Bring Your Human Design Book today and Bring Your Cat today.
Yes.
We had everybody bring your pet and your book, and we'll talk.
I need to get a cat so I can.
I know. I need a cat. I'll bring my dog next time. I love it.
Yeah, bring my cat to work day. Yes.
Yeah, bring your cat to work. Yes, exactly. Love it.
So Rachel is sharing, she loved everything we were saying. She has the 14 too in the second quality. So it was a beautiful episode for her as well. And Linda is probably fairly new as an advisor with only one activation in the Penta column, the Trade 5. Would I need others to create a successful business? So as an advisor, you are especially designed to work with others, and you work best one-on-one. And if you have just one trait and being an advisor, you probably will not feel as comfortable in a team as a team member, but are great in leading and guiding the process of the team. So I hope that helps. And to learn more, there's a whole lot of courses coming up.
Yeah, and if you were brand new and kind of going, what are they talking about? What is all of this about? Again, I do recommend taking part in the BG5 Foundation course. It is the perfect place to start to really get a solid foundation of both who you are, but it also is all about also understanding others as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, last words, Natalie.
Oh, this was a beautiful episode. I really enjoyed all of you talking. No, yeah, it's wonderful to hear, and that's what I love also about these episodes, to hear people that have those things in their design, to understand better how it operates, how they experience it, how it shows up in real life, etc. So it's wonderful to
Beautiful. Thank you, Natalie. And how about for you, Chris? Any last words to wrap things up?
I don't know that I have much more other than just notice, whether you have it or don't have it, where, if you have it, where are you misusing these resources? And if you don't have it, where are you trying to create, especially if you have the 2 and you don't have the 14, where are you trying to manage all the resources? And it's just a struggle, and like doing it all yourself and becoming a super slave, as Lavina was talking about. It's everybody get your book and your cat and just have some fun with it. So
Beautiful. Thank you. And well, that didn't last very long. There we go. And Lavina.
Final words for this particular week is to watch your energy and to be observant to your body. Pay attention to your body. Don't force, don't push. Allow the energy to flow through you and just let it be. Don't try to make things happen so hard. Surrender a little bit and see what happens, the magic that happens when you surrender to what the experience is bringing you to respond to in that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? Just along those lines, Lavina, you know how the tea things, you can kind of get the little quotes on the tea. And I love this one. It says, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished.
Perfect.
And that's Lao Tzu. And that's exactly what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And ultimately, bottom line, it's about using our energy properly. And ultimately, it's using our energy in service of others, taking care of ourselves, taking care of how we utilize our energy so we can support, so we can empower, so we can share with others and share our gifts with others, right? In a way, share our wealth, share our energy, share our power with others, in a sense, to raise everyone up. Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you, each and every one of you attending via Facebook Live, those in our Zoom room, and those that are listening to the recording as well. Have a fabulous week, and we'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much. Bye.